Hello, this is Becca from Willow Hill Designs, and welcome. I hope everyone is well and that you're enjoying some stitching time. Excuse me. And today I will be showing my progress on the Roxy's Journal of Stitchery Still Life project. And I have just about finished my vase of flowers. I have done, I think, as much stitching as I'm going to do, except for some little stitching on the centers of these few leaves. I think it's just this and this and this. Yeah, I think that's it. So I'll just give you a close-up here. This is all the stitching that I'm going to do. Excuse me. This rose has been finished. Fully. That's fully finished since the last time that I was here. And this flower, I added a few straight stitches to it of a lighter kind of a rose color, just to give that a little dimension, and outlined that flower. And this flower was done. This was that kind of orangey, peachy flower, and there's just a lot of straight stitches in this flower. With some outline stitching, satin stitches. Let's see. I didn't do this rose. I think I'm going to leave this rose. I may just do a few little tiny stitches in this, not much, maybe the dark and a little bit of the white, but I think I'll leave that. The leaves have all been pretty much stitched. I outline stitched all of them and did some stitching on the center veins. These are all outlined. These over here are done with outline again and some stitches on the veins. This I will do with the dark. This looks like a dark brown to me. I think I'll come in with a dark brown or green and do that. And this and this. These are done here. This one's all done, outlined, and the veins. Same thing with this and this. And these have been done the same way, outline stitching and some stitching on the veins. And then the last time that I was here, I had these little white flowers that had a dark center in them, and I just put these little ribbon flowers on there and stitched them on and held them on with a French knot. So those are all done. And I think I'll probably leave these roses. The fraying on here really kind of drives me crazy, because when you're stitching, you know, the edge can just disintegrate unless you cover the whole thing. So I think I'll probably leave these small roses. I think those will be left. I will come back to that, and also these leaves. The other thing that I would like to, and I finished this flower as well. This flower wasn't done the last time I was here, and I changed it up a little bit. I added some lighter color to the top here. This had a deeper rose color in that top petal, and I changed that and added a little more white or ivory in here. And then there is some lace underneath this little doily lace. This is actually the same doily lace that's on the valance up here. So this doily lace was added to this flower, and some also of this white lace too, to kind of give that a little bit of definition, just sort of a different looking flower with kind of lacy edges. And so everything, I think all of the stitching is pretty much done on this bouquet as far as I can tell. I also did the French knots in these little flowers here. Those are all done. So the last thing that I think I will probably add to this little bouquet is these flowers that I will be making out of a crinkle ribbon. This is crinkle seam binding, and that just looks like this. And this is kind of an indigo color, kind of speaks to this blue in the vase here. So I think I'll be adding some of those flowers in the bouquet as well. I think maybe I'll just place some randomly throughout. And all I've done here is just tie them twice, and then they have the little ends, and I'll just tuck those under and make the flower look as much as I can like a little, or make the ribbon look as much as I can like a little flower. And so I'll place those around wherever I think it might look nice to add a little bit of that color. That one, this one's a little bit smaller. You can see it's just tied twice. I'll tuck those edges under and just place them somewhere. I'll just grab a pin here. So those will be scattered, I think, throughout, and I think that will complete the bouquet. I think that is it. Now for our second prompt, I didn't start sewing that on yet because there's still a little tiny bit more to do on this, and I didn't want to have to, I would probably put the second prompt over here, and I didn't really want to have to scrunch that up in my hand to reach this over here, any leaves that might need to be done, or these flowers, which I am considering adding these flowers. So I haven't put the second prompt on yet, but I'll just share my ideas for that second prompt. And they are here. Now, when I heard the prompt of a second vase, that really, I don't know how everyone else felt, but that kind of really threw me for a loop, because generally, if I were decorating a table, I would never put two vases on a table. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't put two vases next to each other. I just feel that that would be too much, and also conflicting with each other, especially if there's flowers in both. So that was a challenge, I thought. And so what I came up with, because I didn't really either want a lot of confusion, something else with another pattern like this has this kind of blue willow pattern in it. I didn't want more pattern on here. I just thought that's just for me and my taste, that would be a little too chaotic for me. So I decided to make a vase out of a napkin, a linen napkin that I had. And I just put some actually fusible, can't talk today, fusible interfacing on here that you would use for applique. And I originally had it rounder, almost like a rose bowl kind of look, a rounder look. And I didn't care for that. It was too big. I just didn't want that. I thought the scale should be smaller for the second vase. And so I liked just the ivory, thinking that, you know, they won't compete with each other here. But where do you put it, you know, that it doesn't just look kind of out of place? Where would you place this vase? So I needed something else to work with to make that look natural, like it went on the table. So what I decided to do was to take some more of these books from the book fabric that I have, this same book fabric here. And what I would like to do is kind of put some books here as if they're piled also on the table. Someone's been reading and they're piled on the table. And I thought I would also bring in my other little chickadee. The first chickadee is up here. I'm not sure if that's the male or the female, but I thought I would bring the second chickadee in, maybe sitting on these books. And they're kind of looking at each other. If I can zoom out, kind of looking at each other there. So I thought maybe I would do that and put these books over here as if they were piled up on the desk. And so I wanted to put the vase here somewhere. I thought it's far enough away from this vase and maybe on a little different plane so it would not compete with this vase. This was just another little vase that was brought in to put a few things in, but this was the main vase that someone had gone out and picked flowers. I have to have a story with my pieces or it doesn't make sense to me. So I decided I didn't want to put flowers in this vase because I just didn't want that competition there. I thought it would be just too much. So I have this waxed a thread, I guess that you might call it. It's a wax thread that you use for beading. And I'd actually like to use this also up here to kind of put a branch across as if a branch was used to hang this valance. But I don't want to sew that on until last because I don't want to be crinkling that up in my hands. So I would probably put something across here as if it was a branch. I like that look. So for this, I decided to take some of those waxed threads or cords that you would use for beading, and I just ironed them because they did have some crinkles in them. And I thought it might be interesting to just look as if I had, or someone had gone out and picked some pussy willows and put those in the vase. So it would maybe be something like that. Just, in other words, a few branches of pussy willows in this vase. And I would try to stitch some pussy willows on with some gray, maybe wool thread, or I'm not quite sure, probably wool, I'm thinking might look good for that, to make them sort of look like little puffy, fluffy pussy willows. So I think I will do that, and that still leaves me room for my cover over here for my ginger jar. I'd really would like to include this in here. And so that's kind of where it stands right now. Before I stitch these on, I will just finish up the little tiny bit of stitching on the bouquet and add these little blue flowers that I kind of like in there. I really wanted to keep it very soft colors and very almost all ivories, and I clearly went the other way. So I thought as long as I'm doing color, I may as well add some extra. So I think before I sew on the second prompt, I think I will just finish this little bouquet out by putting these blue flowers here and there. I'll scatter them in here. Oop. So maybe something like that, and they will kind of speak to this color in here. So that is my plan with the second vase, and I feel as though I'm not really taking up too much room with on my table. Granted, my piece is small, but I don't feel as though I'm taking up too much room. This is really more or less above the tabletop, the bird and the books. And the vase, of course, is one of the prompts, so I need to place that. So I think that's kind of the way I will go with this. And I'll try to give you a little better close-up here of that. Let's see if I can bring it over without knocking everything off. Yes, here we go. So that's kind of what it will look like. The second vase, this is a linen napkin, and then the books and the little bird, and possibly pussy willows on there. And I'll zoom out so that you can kind of get an idea of the whole and what it will look like, or how it's coming along, what it's looking like so far. And as I said, I'll add that branch up there. I'll try to make it look like a branch, maybe with something coming off of it a little bit. I'll try to make that look like a branch up there, but that won't be added for a while yet, actually until the very last. So I will couch these down and then stitch some pussy willows onto them, and hopefully that'll be a nice addition to this. Lots and lots and lots of stitching went into this, lots of stitching. But it's been fun. It's really been fun. It's been challenging because it's large and it's hard to get everything gathered up in your hand, and the more you stitch, the stiffer it gets. So I got very good at stitching with two hands, coming from the bottom with my right hand and going down from the top with my left, almost like cross stitch or needlepoint. But that seemed to work for me, seemed to work fairly well. So yes, I have been very busy with this, and I've also been working on quilts. I finished, I think it's like 5 quilts in the last couple of months, and I know I've been asked to share them before, and I'll just show you quickly. I made a little pillowcase to go with my granddaughter's quilt. It's a tulip pink quilt, and these are some of the fabrics in her quilt, and this is her little pillowcase that I made for her to go with her quilt. That quilt is at the quilter right now, being quilted, so I hope to get that back soon. And this one I just finished. Sorry, I think I banged the camera. This one I just finished this week. I quilted this one myself, actually. This is a Christmas quilt, and this is some fabric a friend sent to me from England several years ago, and I wanted to include this in a quilt with some other Christmas fabrics that I had. I can't remember the name of this line. Oh, is it by Fabric Chicks? Oh, I'm not sure. But this is another one done and all set for Christmas coming up. So, and I have 2 more over there that have to be sent out. The little tiny tailor, and another one, a star quilt that I made with little teeny tiny blocks. So I have been busy. So I think this time of the year is conducive for all this wonderful stitching. As summer comes, we're outdoors more, and you don't get as much stitching time in. So I'm kind of taking advantage of that, of being indoors and getting my stitching needs fulfilled. So anyway, that's where this stands, and thank you very much for joining me today, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.